what's going on? So I was tagged in the 11 question challenge by Edgewood Outdoors, and I didn't want to scare you guys right off the bat. I want you to know it was me. All right. Oh. Yeah, I was trimming the old beard. I do in March, usually between September and March. Just let it go crazy, and then I trim it up in the summer, spring and summer. And I trimmed it, and I kind of got it uneven and just shaved it off. So I'm gonna look like a light bulb for a little while. That's gonna be my new logo, I think. But yeah, so I was tagged in the 11 question challenge by Edgewood Outdoors. If you haven't checked out his channel, definitely do. He's based in Southern Ontario, right? Does some really cool bushcraft videos. He has a property up there. He goes up the Algonquin every now and then, or at least I've seen a couple of videos of his in the Algonquin where he's got some moose. But just kind of the message that he brings to the outdoors, you know, with his family and trying to get his kids involved in the outdoors and giving them the opportunity to fall in love with what all of us in this outdoor community have already fallen in love with. So that's awesome. It's a great lesson for people that, you know, sometimes it's okay to get outside with your kids and just let them be kids and be outdoors. So definitely check out Edgewood Outdoors. Very cool channel. Thanks, Peter, for the tag, and let's get to the questions. Got them right here on my phone. Question number 1: do you prefer to go on a trip alone or in a group? That really depends. I've had some trips where I've gone alone and it's been great, and done a similar trip with a group or other people, and that was great as well. It really depends on the trip. You can do things alone that you wouldn't normally do with a group, and vice versa. So, for example, when I went to Maine the first time, I did that by myself, and it was an awesome trip. The next year I went up with my sister and a buddy of mine, and that was an awesome trip. But I did things on the first trip that I would never do, you know, with other people with me, and I saw things with other people that I wouldn't normally do by myself. So it really does depend. I don't have a preference. I guess if I'm trying to get away from everybody, I would rather be alone, obviously. But it's always nice to have somebody with you, or, you know, a group of people with you, to kind of share an experience. Question number 2. What has been your most challenging trip or hike to date? Well, I'm going to go back to that Maine trip. By far the most challenging hike I've ever taken was the Beehive Trail in Acadia National Park. And some of you may have hiked that and you think, oh, it's no big deal. But when you live with this crippling fear of heights, like I've had since I was a kid, it's a big deal. I've tried over the past 10 or 15 years or so to push myself beyond my comfort zone when it comes to heights, and that one was the pinnacle, because there's a section of that trail where you are about 500 feet up. There is a sheer drop off to your right, and on your left is a sheer cliff, and the path is literally this wide, and there's nothing to hold on to. There's no railings, there's no nothing. So that hike took me about half hour to 45 minutes, and I was in panic attack mode for a good chunk of that as I was in those sections. So yeah, definitely that was the most challenging hike, but so glad I did it. It pushed me beyond anything else I had done like that. I could walk out the edge of a cliff and look down, as long as I know that I could just step back and I'm safe. It's that ascent that really gets me. So that trip was incredible for that. That was awesome. I would do that again. Question number 3. What's the most beautiful sleeping place so far? Was thinking about this one yesterday, and it's a toss-up between Eagle Island and Lower Lake Saranac in the Adirondacks, which is just surrounded by these granite islands and this beautiful serene lake, and you're at the base of the Adirondack high peaks. But I really think I'd have to say that the most beautiful spot, and for a weird reason, is the Canaveral National Seashore in Florida. I rented an island. I think it was the southernmost island you could rent, island campsite. It was called South Dredge Island. And there's this incredible orange sunset, really clear sky. There was a storm blowing in the next day, so the sky was unusually clear for a storm coming in. And so this clear sky, you can see all the stars and everything. And right off the south edge of the island was Mosquito Lagoon, and I was looking right at the NASA Vehicle Assembly Building at Kennedy Space Center. It was different. It was a beautiful spot for a different reason. It was really cool. I really enjoyed that. Question number 4. What winter activities do you do? Well, if you're watching my videos at all, you know that I like to backpack and camp in the winter. When there's enough snow, snowshoeing, just generally being outside. I just like being out in the winter. Hiking, camping. If there was no ice on the lakes, I'd probably be out in my kayak too. I got a wetsuit, so I'd be okay, and I'd just be a little more careful. Question number 5. Have you ever been seriously hurt in the outdoors? Luckily, no. Knock on wood. On the picnic table? No, never been seriously hurt. I've come really close. 2 examples I can think of where I came really close. One I actually just was talking to somebody about a couple weeks ago was the trip up to the Adirondacks. We were paddling back into the camp on the second day after we'd gone out and checked out the area, and the wind was coming down off the high peaks into the lake, and where the access ponds and the lake meet is this area where there's these large rock outcrop islands that create these channels in the lake, and the wind was whipping through there, and it had created a river through this section. And by the time we realized that the current was as strong as it was too late. My buddy was off to my left, so he got sucked out and a little bit further out to the center, and I got pulled right in by the shore, and it was just all rocks, like rocks the size of this little pavilion. And I almost crashed right into him, and it happened really quick. But I remember thinking in that brief, like maybe 10 or 15 seconds, as I was veering towards these rocks, that if I hit these, there's a good chance I'm going to die. The odd thing about that is, in situations like that, I tend to laugh. It's exciting, I guess. I don't know. It's weird. But yeah, that was one of the times I almost got seriously hurt. The other one was last April in the Catskills. I was up there hiking with my nephew, and we went up to Slide Mountain, and we were going to go over to Cornell Mountain. And we were hiking down the backside of Slide, and I was coming down the face of this rock. It was about 12 feet down. It's pretty vertical descent, and I had my foot in a crack of the rock, and I was going to lower myself down to another crack or root or something like that, and then down to another little ledge, and then hop down. And there's roots on the rock, so I was grabbing onto the roots, and when I had my foot in there, and it was just barely in, like maybe by a half inch or an inch was I into this little crevice, and I forgot how big my backpack was, so as I started to lower myself down, the backpack hit the rock and bumped me out a little bit, and I slid. Lost my footing and kind of caught myself, and thought, well, I'll just slide down this rock. It's pretty smooth. I will hit the bottom. I'll coil my legs, and I'll be fine. But there was ice underneath everything, and when my feet hit, they just kicked out, and then I got rib punched by the rock. So that really hurt. I could have broke a rib, but I was actually okay. Question number 6. Do you practice any special survival techniques? Not as such. I mean, I practice building a fire, getting better at that, with just using what's around. Honestly, for me, I think the best practice for survival is learning how to not get yourself in a survival situation. So I try to keep my head clear and calm as things start to go wrong, because eventually things do go wrong when you're outside. But I think if you can keep a calm head and you limit the amount of mistakes that you make, or you can make better judgment on those mistakes as you're making them, you can keep yourself out of a true survival situation. So I really haven't had myself get put into a situation where I was needed some kind of survival technique, but I probably should be working on them. Number 7, what do you think about permanent bushcraft camp? I'm not a bushcrafter. I would never claim to be. I like the techniques, the bushcraft techniques, and all that stuff. I just don't. I don't have the land for a bushcraft camp, and I'm not good enough at it to try. At least not yet. As far as for other people, I like it. I like seeing people having a place where they can kind of call their own. Around my area, though, I wish they wouldn't do them in spots like state parks and state forests right on the trail. where they're kind of learning and they're cutting down live trees and they're doing things wrong and they're just leaving stuff scattered all over the place. That's not good. Some of these forests have a lot of space. You can go find a little spot and set something up. Otherwise, if you're in your own property, do what you want. It's just right now not something I'm doing, but maybe at some point. I do hear people come. Number 8, what's your favorite recipe for cooking outside? I do a lot of dehydrated food, so I do my cooking at home and then rehydrate out on a trail. I want to get into more trail cooking, but right now it's usually simple stuff, mac and chili mac or rice and beans. If I can get dehydrated chicken, like freeze-dried chicken, I'll add that in there, like rice and chicken, things like that, simple things. But I want to start getting into more camp cooking. That'd be cool. If I'm car camping, then whatever I got, burgers, hot dogs. I keep it simple. Number 9, how do you motivate yourself in the bad weather? I don't know. I guess it depends on what you consider bad weather. Hurricanes, tornadoes, things like that, I wouldn't be out. Weather like this, I find this fun, so that's how I stay motivated. It's just, it's different. It's a different landscape. It's a different everything. So, yeah. I stay motivated by embracing the differences in the different weathers, I guess. Number 10, what would be your dream destination? I've actually got 2, and they're kind of generalized. I've never been west in the United States, so I want to go out west. There's so many national parks, and the snow is falling off the tree out here. It's pretty cool. So many national parks and national monuments and things like that. You got Yosemite and Yellowstone and Grand Canyon and Redwoods and the Pacific Northwest and just all kinds of stuff, desert, things I've never seen before. So the western part of the United States for sure, and then the other one would have to be just Germany. I am German by heritage, German, Irish, and Welsh actually, but my name, Zitzelman, is German, and I've traced my heritage back to 1523 back in Germany, so I'd like to go there and kind of just almost like a homecoming, just go back and explore, maybe not even so much for the hiking or anything like that, but just to be there and kind of see it. And then finally, question number 11, what is your heaviest piece of equipment? That hands down would be my kayak, and that's a simple question, but I guess if you're talking for backpacking or anything like that, it would have to be my backpack. Right now my backpack is like 6 pounds just by itself, my winter backpack, which is way too heavy. But it's a beast, and I can just cram stuff in there. It usually looks bigger than it is because in the winter I carry 2 sets of quilts, and they're synthetic so they don't pack down. But yeah, my kayak for in the summer, and in the winter my backpack. So that's my 11 answers for my 11 questions. So now I got to tag 3 people, right? I think that's what Edgewood said. You tag 3 people. I'm gonna keep 3 people that are close. So if you guys have already done this, then just let me know. I'll put the link up. If not, I'd like to see what your answers are to this. That would be Adam Z Adventures, DBCooper 581, and DragonsTrails. So those 3, I'll put their links down in the bottom. And if you haven't checked their channels out, definitely go check them out. DBCooper 581 added the 3D printed stuff to the giveaway I just did a couple weeks ago. So yeah, definitely interested in seeing what they take. So I'm gonna go try to keep my face warm because it's cold after shaving. And yeah, that's my 11 questions. If you liked the video, hit that thumbs up. Go check out Edgewood Outdoors. Thanks for tagging me. Check out the channels I tagged. And I'm going to kind of enjoy the snow. All right, see you in the next.